100% Hard AF Seltzer is now live in over 2,500 locations across the United States. We're now available in Florida, Georgia, Alabama, Tennessee, North Carolina, Ohio, Idaho, Illinois, Michigan, Montana, Oregon, and Texas. Go to hardafseltzer.com today, click on the store locator, enter your city or zip, and find the nearest location closest to you. Welcome to Drinkin Bros, presented by GhostBed.com. Yeah, welcome to Drinkin Bros, kids. A little Friday afternoon show for dead ass. I think we're just going to go live on YouTube on Fridays for this video show.
Why not?
Why not, dude? Why not? There's so much news happening on a daily basis right now, including over the weekend. It almost feels like it's a little treat for what's going to happen for Monday's fake news, because by the time this airs on Sunday, I feel like 90 other things will have happened at that point, and it just keeps getting wilder and wilder. Not that I don't love all of it, because I do, but it's getting crazy out there, dude. Hard AF Seltzer's selling out in these streets, too. It's awesome. I want to tell the lovely people of Idaho. Picked up Albertsons. That's coming out soon. And I just got an email from Montana. Albertsons will be there as well here in about 4 to 6 weeks. So look at that, dude. We're doing it. We're really doing it. If you want to join the company, well, that shuts down in about 50 days here. That's all done because the government and the SEC, apparently you can only leave a fundraiser up for so long, and that's it. Go to wefunder.com/hardafseltzer today and get in. You got 50 days left, and that's it. Shuts down forever, and we will not be doing another one. I was able to sell it to a lady with braces in the store today, which I like.
Hard AF Seltzer?
Yeah. I had a little meeting over at HEB over there up the street. They were doing a bunch of tastings and all that other stuff, and she goes, I want something with green apple. And I said, I got one for you. Here you go, lady. It's a Jolly Rancher. If you don't like it, I'll let you walk into the studio and just slap me in the face live on air. Okay? And she was in. So she bought it. I watched it happen right in front of my face.
I'm also looking in the Apple store. It looks like there's a Hard AF Seltzer app that you can download.
Correct. So that's got the store locator on it as well. That app is now live. So is the Drinkin Bros app. Drinkin Bros app, my God, man. It's free. It's on iPhone and Android. A lot of sweet nudes in there, dude. There's becoming some fan faves over in that app. We have no admins, so you can post whatever you want. There's the most disgusting memes of all time, and people, by the way, like the old school feel of it. So we're going to make updates to it, obviously, but we'll do it in small increments. Everybody likes the old school feel of it, where it feels like the original message boards and internets and all that other fun stuff, where if you see it, you see it. If you don't, you don't. And the nudes, again, there's some fan faves in there. Ginger Meister is one of the faves in that group over there. So good for her, Ginger. Proud of you. No face shots in there from Ginger, but she's giving you everything else.
I don't think anybody was asking.
We don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what anybody looks like.
I don't care.
Whenever I see a username, I don't really care. But somebody did ask for the ginger if the carpet matches the drapes.
I've been doing some, I guess you could call it, anecdotal research on the type of smut that women like recently. Books, probably number one.
It is.
Like the
romance
smut
novels
books.
destroy.
And it ranges from like your typical Fabio cover romance novel to some fucked up shit, right? And then there's straight audio, which is a lot of it is just audio books.
Correct.
But like mostly they'll go to the sex scene part of the audiobook.
Yeah.
And pound off to that. They don't like that phrase pound off. I don't care.
Sure.
There's smut movies and shit like that, obviously.
Yeah, you got porn.
Well, no. Like actual films. Like there's one with Nicole Kidman where she's a high-powered executive. I can't remember what it's called.
Oh, yeah, I know what you're talking about.
And she just gets plowed by this dude.
Every movie she's doing right now, she's getting plowed, and she's got her tits out.
There's some young dude that works at the place, one of her employees or something, Not even her employee, just like an employee of an employee of an employee, and he just dominates her the whole time. It's like some fantasy stuff.
Yeah.
And the last one is literal pornography, but what I'm hearing is they like the no-face stuff.
From the dudes?
From everybody. They don't want to see anybody's face in the porn. They just want to see bodies fucking.
That's a big subculture.
But that makes sense. It makes sense because we're more visual. Men.
Yeah.
Women are more in their heads, right?
I want to see a face, though. I want to see a face. I do too. I need a face.
I need a story, too. I can't do this gonzo shit. I need somebody to...
What do you mean, gonzo?
I don't need a story. I don't need any of that.
What do you mean
all.
by gonzo shit?
Gonzo of like, kicking open a trailer door and then you see two people fucking. Like, that's what I...
That's the title of like porn that doesn't have a story to it, just gets right to the fucking. That's
right.
gonzo.
I don't need a story. I don't... Like, the story takes me out of it, actually. Because then it doesn't feel real at all.
That's just what I grew up on, Everybody would have that like tape of Pirates. There's like high production to that.
Yeah. The Pirates of the Caribbean.
Skinamax, all that type of fun stuff.
That was the highest budgeted porn in history, by the way. The knockoff of Pirates of the Caribbean.
Oh, it's great.
Yeah, that was a big budget on that
I
one.
enjoy it outside of the porn.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
It's a good movie.
And then to your point, D'Anthony, a lot of the romance novels for dudes that I wrote, 40% of that audience was female. Which was shocking. I couldn't believe it. Simon & Schuster told me that, and I was just like, what?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it makes sense.
Was 40% of the audience female?
Yes.
Or was 40% of the purchasers female?
Purchasers.
Well, how would you know the difference?
Yeah, I don't know.
In that case, you can't really tell.
Because I think that, not to say that women didn't like your book, because I'm sure they did, but I think that your book was a huge gift.
Oh, for husbands.
Yeah.
That's funny. Yeah, probably. But I got asked to speak and read an excerpt at there is a huge romance novels convention in New York City, and I got asked to do it there one time, and it was all ladies, and it was all like housewives, I would say late 30s, early 40s, and they go nuts for that shit. I saw the cover guys come in too and just get absolutely mobbed. Like, it is a massive moneymaker.
They love it, and especially now with the advent of not just the advent, but the popularization of audiobooks. That's the perfect smut for broads, to be honest.
Yeah.
And you can watch it or listen to it in public if you want. Just walk around fucking dripping wet, listening to some fucking Italian dude talk shit into your ears.
And for mine, it didn't become a bestseller until it hit audio 3.5 years later is what we found out. And that's why. Like, there's tons of women and dudes and all that other shit, and it's shocking, to be honest with you. But it's a big moneymaker. And there's a reason why, like, Danielle Steele is one of the richest writers of all time.
And she's pretty vanilla, by the way. The stuff, like the actual smut stuff, gets like even 50 Shades of Grey is super vanilla compared to.
I agree. I read it.
The big books that are going around women right now, my wife's been reading them, is like all the fairy sex, the dragon
one.
And
there's
there's one like 4-book dragon series that all of her friends have read.
You know who's really into it right now?
Who?
Lopez.
Oh, well,
he's a big Taylor Swift guy. So
that's not a huge shock.
He switched to Sabrina Carpenter. He's off Taylor now.
Oh, shit.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Good for him.
He pulled a fucking Leo.
Yeah. When younger.
She aged out.
Yeah, she aged out. When you age out of Lopez, that's a rough one there.
Have any of the broads in the chat been talking about what smut they watch? Because I'm curious to see if my findings are accurate.
Well, real quick here, let me ask you, Bob, because I don't know this genre. Are the women having sex with the dragons?
Yeah, so it's like a female No, not the dragons. It's not like hentai.
No. It's slay dragon, fuck girl.
Actual girl.
So the guy who
the girl's the protagonist typically.
Okay, so it's the girl or the guy who kills the dragon and then they have sex together?
There's one where she finds out she's a dragon rider, even though she's not of the race that rides dragons, and she goes to this thing and falls in love. There's like a guy who's a jerk, but he's fucking hot as shit, and there's sexual tension and blah, blah, blah.
Seems like you've read this.
Don't worry about what I do when I'm home or what I narrate to my wife.
Yeah, look, I'm all in, Bob. It's weird, and I like it. And I know Adam and Eve sells those sex toys.
Yeah, dude, this is the generation that grew up on Twilight, which was basically a high school romance novel. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we've just kicked it up a notch, is what we've done. And everything seems to have gotten more and more aggressive to where we're not really shocked anymore. So, yeah, fucking having sex over a dead dragon, why not? Like, that's kind of the next evolution. And Game of Thrones was obviously super popular and all that shit. I'm sure that added to the lore of it.
Somebody in the chat, was it Codeman, ask, and this is an interesting question too. What kind of porn do you think that the North Koreans were watching? The ones that deployed to Russia?
I think whites, blondes, fake tits, because they don't have anything like that, and that's just my guess.
Frit, a.k.a. Tiff, I don't know what that name means, but she says it was probably BBC. I don't know.
No.
Do North Koreans even know black people exist?
I don't think so.
Well, no, that was that one black dude that tried to defect to North Korea, that soldier. Remember last year? So maybe they know now.
I guess, but I'm going to say it's your classic American shit. Like, for real. I think they worship America and all those people. Even the K-pop. Take the K-pop kids. You know, they make them look white. Just to, They white them down.
I mean, they do that in anime too. That's been forever.
I know.
Like all the anime characters have over exaggerated white person features.
Mm-hmm.
The chat brought up another category of porn that the North Koreans were probably watching.
Furries?
Stuck.
What's stuck?
Yeah.
Stuck in a dryer, stuck under a table.
Oh, yeah. We talked to Corey Chase about that. She said that's huge, and she does a lot of those stuff.
She's been like when it comes to couches and household appliances, she's been one of the unluckiest people in the history of the world.
Yeah,
I don't get it.
Constantly getting stuck.
I don't see the appeal of it.
Of getting stuck?
Of stuck porn.
I think it's because you can't get out, right? And it's doing something that you can get away with and then leave.
I think it's an Operation Bluebeam situation where the government wants to get you used to just having sex with like half a person, like a robot, basically. Yeah. So when you don't see the top half, it's just a fuckhole.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I like that.
Because we're headed there. Mm-hmm. That's where it's all headed right now.
But I think for the North Korea thing, they probably just it's probably depending on the person, what their search parameters were. If they just typed in porn, like some Russian dude was like, hey. You know porn exists. Like,
нет.
What do you mean porn? It's like, there you go.
I looked it up to see if there was any data on that.
What do we got?
Allegedly, the porn data they do have out of North Korea, but it's not specifically the soldiers, but you can use this as sort of a weather vane. Their top 3 searches tend to relate to Chinese is number 1, even above Korean, and then Swedish was in the top 3 as well.
There you go. Swedish. Nailed it.
Wait, what is Swedish?
Yeah, blondes, blue eye, big tits. That's pretty stock standard. I
guess for them that's the closest other that doesn't look homogenous to you, right?
Right.
Because South Korea, Vietnam, North Vietnam.
Man, I'll get on a fucking rabbit hole in this. So like Hollywood, because Asia is one of their biggest markets for movies, right? So when you send movies over there, that's why they put Matt Damon in The Wall and all that other shit. But they don't like black actors over there. They don't. I heard they don't like. They're kind of racist over there. No, they don't like black people. So that makes sense that they're not watching black porn. They don't watch the black movies. So, yeah, man. That makes sense. Now the Chinese one is interesting because is it because they're communist and it's like, oh shit.
I think China's like the big brother. Like that's where all the you got to think that a lot of their entertainment comes from China. Right? So a lot of hot actresses and shit they see come from China. So they're like, oh, dude, China's where all the hot women are. So let's look at Chinese porn.
Maybe. Interesting. But at least they had something to jack off to before they died.
Yeah, I like that. And then again, this stuff gets pretty... There's a lot of granular categories of pornography now. Like you mentioned... Stuck. There's like, what's the one that Jared was obsessed with? Not travel, vacation porn.
Oh, vacation porn.
Vacation porn. Yeah. It's like, and vacation porn is basically you get stuck in a 1-bed hotel room with your stepmom or your fucking stepsister or your step great aunt or whatever the fuck it is.
Well, some of them,
then you bang them.
Some of them, they were actually going through their whole vacation, and then to Delco's fantasy there, it had a storyline. They were on a vacation, and they would show you the vacation elements, but when they got back to the room, after dinner, drinks at the pool, then they would bone. So they were showing a whole vacation, some of them.
Is there like Canadian? Because that's not specific. I don't think that's... How would you know? Maybe the accent?
The accent.
It'll take you out, though.
I know.
Like, I wouldn't want to hear that.
I don't want to hear it.
Or Australian. I don't want to hear that shit either.
Like, imagine if it's a bad vacation, though, and you're, like, zip-lining. How are you going to bone after zip-lining?
Well, I would recommend taking a shower first.
The one I watched with Jared, they were zip-lining there, but they were doing it buck naked. So they were going through the jungles and shit.
Welcome to the jungle.
And whoever they paid, they were doing it buck naked. There was also rock climbing. They were rock climbing buck naked and all that other stuff.
No, I wouldn't do that.
And having sex.
I definitely
on
would
the
not do
rocks.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes more sense.
Yeah.
That's more of like an exhibition.
It's like Cliffhanger, the porn version, which ironically Sly got his start in pornography.
Sly.
This is the first one that came up for rock climbing.
Is she pissing on the side of a hill?
She's
There
just
you
peeing
go.
on a hill.
Got to pee.
Oh, it's called got2p.com. All right. All right.
Let's see what this.
Not a sponsor, by the way.
Warlock's doing.
Not a sponsor of the show.
Not
Wish
yet.
they were.
Not yet.
Wish they were.
We'll reach out to Got
Oh, this is just her peeing in the wilderness.
Yeah.
I'm guessing she pees all over town.
Yeah.
You got to think.
You gotta think so.
Got2p.com.
Yeah.
Come on, blast it. Good stream.
There it is.
It's good
Very
stream.
good stream there. Very good stream. Good for her. And it looks like she had a full bottle of water maybe in the morning.
It's a very clean piss.
Yeah, it really
it's
is.
clear, yeah, she's
Yeah.
hydrated.
She's very hydrated. She probably had her microfactors from first form, and she's really peeing there. That is a lot of urine coming out of that human. That's a good leader right there.
We could probably show that, right?
Well, since you said
definitely can't on
no,
YouTube.
definitely not. But since you brought up First Form, who's a sponsor, I guess we can do our first sponsor, which is GhostBed.com. And if you're gonna piss like that, you want that mattress protector. You gotta have it, right? Like if your girl squirts, or you're doing anal, which you should be.
You should be?
Yes.
Okay.
Your woman likes it. It's better for her than it is for you. It's
great.
Actually, right?
Yeah.
But you got to pace yourself. Do it the right way.
It's not something you can do every night.
No. You shouldn't actually. There's data on how often you should or shouldn't do it for your butthole's integrity.
Really?
Right. Yeah.
And what does that data show?
I don't remember exactly what it was, but it's something like maybe a couple times a month.
Okay.
Right. But anyways, whether you're doing anal or your girl's a squirter or maybe you're just incontinent, you should get a ghost bed and have the mattress protector on it.
I agree.
A mattress is as Daniel Tosh used to like to say, it's a third of your life, spend the money. Right?
Yes.
Like you sleep a third of your life, spend the money on something quality. But then protect your investment.
Exactly. Go to ghostbed.com/Drinkin Bros today. 50% off every item in the entire store. Mattress, sheets, pillows, adjustable bases, you name it. It's all 50% off. They've even got the mattresses for RVs and campers out there. Little Gabby Petito campers out there. I would use it on the bundle package. Bundle package is the adjustable base, sheets, pillows, and the mattress combined, but they've also got different options. You can get a split king, comes with 2 remote controls instead of 1. That way you control your own destiny when you go to sleep at night over there at ghostbed.com/Drinkin Bros. When you check out, yes, you're getting 50% off, and let's say you get that bundle package. You see a little box of checks that says, hey, would you like to stretch this out? 36 months, interest-free. Yes, I would. Thank you, GhostBed. That'd be $45 a month, and it's well worth it. That new Disney streaming package is like fucking $58. So for Christ's sakes, get yourself a brand new bedroom set, all right? Go to ghostbed.com/Drinkin Bros today. Papa Trump here, back in action. Just slashed $400 million in funding to Columbia University for its failure to crack down on anti-Semitism. Bob, pull up that video I just sent you on Twitter. So there's still protests going on today. I was unaware that this shit is still happening on college campuses at this point. Because this is in the heart of New York City here, Columbia, and that's part of the problem, obviously, is I would assume some of these people don't go to school there. Difficult school to get into, but play this footage here. What do we got?
Encirclement.
What does encirclement mean?
Who said it?
Cop?
What it sounds like.
They're trying to get around everybody? Okay. I mean, this is getting wild to me here at this point because, first of all, these people live in America. Why? Why do you live in America? If you give a fuck about Palestine that much, why do you care? Also, this like hatred for Jews that keeps happening all over the place is also very bizarre to me.
I mean, it shouldn't be bizarre. It happens every couple of 100 years.
It does, but why? What's the driving force?
Because it is the most pervasive other in every major civilization that's ever existed. Rome, fucking the Byzantine Empire, all of Europe. Not so much Asia, right? Well, we're talking about the West. The United States, all of it, right? Mainland Europe, United States. In modern times, even like when I say modern, I mean like since, let's call it the 15th century or something like that. And then, so late middle. But yeah, that whole time. And even before that, Byzantines, and all the way back to Rome, right?
All right.
They were almost a vassal state for Rome back in the day, in the Palestine region. And yeah, it's like anytime the economy turns, people will find the other, like, oh, it's their fault. Not, the military-industrial complex and how we spent trillions of dollars and then printed a bunch of money to pay for it that didn't exist to create inflation. Not that. Not white Biden, deciding to murder all the chickens because one of them had the flu or anything like that. That's causing egg prices to go up. No, it's just the Jews. This is low-frequency stupidity, to be honest.
But I mean, let's go back to the terrorist attack on October 7th. Why? Like, what was the driving factor? Why in the middle of the day at a music festival, and then now this is carried over for a year and a half to the point where, again, these protests that we just showed you right now are happening today. Like, those people are getting arrested right now.
I mean, it's the same thing that happens in U.S. politics, though, right? People choose a side tribalistically. Usually, it's not really based on much, except for some, I guess, just identity politics. Really, they'll choose one or the other, and then they'll defend whatever their side does and reject whatever the other side does. Right? That happens in American politics. Now, you put it into a savage culture like Gaza, then yeah, they're gonna fucking murder people. And to be frank, there's some of these people just are too. They hate Jew. I really believe they hate Jews. Honestly, I think they do. But then there's a lot of people who are just like critical of stupid shit that people do, like Bibi helping to fund Hamas before they even won the election, right? So there's a conversation with him. You can look this up. This isn't me. You can look this up. Him having a conversation with the Turkish government in 1998 about we're going to start having Turkey help fund Hamas. Like, I mean, help. It means you're doing it already. Yeah. This is before Hamas won the election in Palestine in 2006, in Gaza rather. So they've been running the government, so-called government there, for all that time under the Palestinian Authority. And they've been funded by Israel and by, to some degree, and I don't mean they're funding Hamas terror organizations. They were trying to fund the government so it would stand up and do something, right? Mm-hmm. And then we funded it, and Qatar funded it as well, right? But Bibi and et al., others, allowed Hamas to develop over time because they wanted the Palestinian Authority / PLO to be associated with the militant wing. So everybody thinks all Palestine is this, right? Mm-hmm. And two things have happened. One, if you call somebody crazy long enough, they'll start acting crazy. And that isn't to say that anything that Hamas does or the people who support them does is justifiable in any meaningful way, but there is a fucking, in the same way that Russia invading Ukraine isn't justifiable. But there were things that happened leading up to that, right? They're important for context. And then, the last part of it is the way that people in the U.S. media and U.S. politicians and American Christians defend Israel, not the Jews, but Israel, from any kind of criticism rubs people the wrong way.
Yeah.
It just does. It's like that. You're creating more anti-Semitism by not admitting that Israel as a state, as a government, is just as fucked up as anybody else. Mm-hmm. Right? And that there's two sides of that coin. The first side is that, of course they are, because it's dudes running it. Men, not men specifically, but human beings, and they're fucking idiots, and they do fucked up shit all the time. Look at the last 4 years of ours and most of Congress today, right? But if you were in a conversation with somebody from, I don't know, fucking UAE or Bahrain or something, and they were like, oh, you Americans are fucking, you're all criminals and you all have dementia. Like, no, that was just the president, dude. That wasn't all of us, obviously. So that's fucking stupid to monolith people like that. But it's also stupid to protect any organization from rightful criticism. It's only going to make it worse. And it's only going to justify the people who say that they're being protected from criticism, because they are, right?
Yeah.
So nobody is doing the right thing here.
But I'm looking at this too, why are we giving $400 million in federal grants to Columbia University?
Well, here, that's the interesting part. So Columbia University, this is the part that'll drive you crazy. So their operating budget for the year, I think, is like $6 billion.
Yeah.
They make $1.7 billion annually from the interest on their endowment.
Okay.
They make right at $2 billion a year just on the interest from their endowment. They make another $2.2 billion off tuition, and that is not to include grad school or anything else. That's just the base level tuition, right? So the fact that we're giving them money, what the fuck are you talking about? These people, they have a fucking like $16 billion endowment or something like that.
That's what I don't get, because I'm looking at it here.
Harvard's even worse, by the way. Harvard's got a $35 million or billion dollar endowment. The interest on their endowment annually is more than the tuition they charge, and we're still giving them money.
So is that U.S. taxpayers?
Yes. And it's
Why?
for research and shit like that.
Okay.
It's like, no, you incentivize the research. That's what you do. Instead of having taxpayers fund it, you'd be like, hey, you're rich. And if you want to benefit from this, do the research. We'll help you apply the patent to it, and you can make money off of it and add it to your endowment. But we're not subsidizing you. Fuck off.
Yeah, because it says here they're doing a comprehensive review of more than $5 billion in federal grant money that goes to Columbia in light of the ongoing investigations of potential violations of Title 11 or Title VI is 6, I think, right? 6, right? Rocky 6?
Yes.
What's that?
Yeah, VI. Yeah. It's Title 6, forgive me, of the Civil Rights Act related to anti-Semitism on campus. And they said, it's only been 4 days with the Trump's administration announcement of this review. That's a lot of fucking money, dude. Like, how many other schools are getting this much money from U.S. taxpayers?
A lot of them.
Do we have a total on that? Like, I would love to know that answer. Jesus Christ, man. Because, no, we shouldn't be giving taxpayer money to this bullshit.
No.
Like, at all.
Under no circumstances should we be subsidizing.
What is the tuition going towards then?
Well, see, I mean, we talked about this before, but it's going to the administrative state, right? And it exists in government, and it exists in universities, probably to a larger degree in universities than even in government, which is saying something. So I think the last time I saw data, and keep in mind this was mid-2010s, maybe 2016, so late middle, but the average professor salary relative to inflation had risen by 27% in the last like 30 or 40 years, something like that. But the cost for administrative fees, that is to say, DEI people or counselors or this fucking job or that job that's fucking useless, the cost for that went up 2,000%. 2,000% relative to inflation, because they just added a bunch of bureaucratic bloat.
Right.
And that's why you go to college and you come out with fucking thousands and thousands of dollars in fucking debt. That's literally the only reason. Otherwise, like, bless his heart, Bill O'Reilly used to tell this story about how when I was a teenager, I painted houses in the summer to pay my way through Harvard. I'm like, how many houses you got to paint to afford $70,000,
He's
Bill?
a fucking liar, dude. Yeah.
No, he did it back then for sure. 100%. Yep.
What was the tuition? 70 grand?
Bob, look it up.
70 back then?
No, it's 70 now.
It's 70 now, I
Yeah.
know. But what was it back then? I still don't think it was cheap. How old
I'm
is
looking
Bill
up,
O'Reilly?
He's
80.
75, so
Yeah.
this would have been 50-ish years ago. I'll check it real quick.
He's a real big history buff, by the way. Bob loves it. The bestsellers he's written on just historical figures would alter your mind.
In 1970, I just use that as a
It was
date.
$5,300 a year.
Oh, I have tuition at $2,600.
Holy shit.
Well, I've got 1975, which is 50 years ago to the date.
Okay.
And he's 85, 75?
75.
Oh, so yeah, it would be closer to yours.
Yeah,
so like
so-
$2,600 a year. Yeah, he probably did.
Oh,
Now,
yeah.
like, for real.
That'll work. Yeah.
For real, he painted houses to do it. But this isn't life anymore, Bill.
God damn, dude.
Like I've got some degree of affection for Bill O'Reilly because he is a history buff, and he produced one of my favorite live viral moments of all time.
Fuck it, we'll do it live.
Yeah, one of the best ever.
Yeah.
Holy shit, man! Like this is the root of the problem, right? If we have to make it competitive, and government subsidizing things removes competition. If Harvard and Columbia are best schools, right? Mm-hmm. Which they used to be, 100%. Princeton was the first one, I believe, or is it William and Mary was the first one? In the U.S., yeah, I think it was Princeton.
It might be Princeton.
Yeah.
I think, yeah.
But anyways, our best schools should have to.
Harvard.
It was Harvard,
huh?
And 15 something or 16.
1636.
36. It should be. There should be a competition to become the best and to stay the best. And when government just says, oh, well, this is the best option, and they may be right for a 5, 10, 50-year period, maybe, right? But not 51.
Yeah.
And once you cross over that threshold and you're subsidizing something that isn't the highest possible quality product, then your product as a country starts to go down. And look around. Our education product over the last 25 years has gone down dramatically. We've gone from top 5 in literally every category to somewhere between 15 and 35 in every category, to include STEM, fucking proficiency in the English language, for Christ's sake. I mean, it's ridiculous. Some lady is suing a high school right now for graduating her, and she is functionally illiterate.
Really? So she's suing them?
Yeah, I don't know who wrote.
How could she read the lawsuit?
I don't know who wrote the paper.
Yeah, and then who read it back to her to see if it was correct. That's an interesting one. What's her name? What do you think her race is? Just off the if you were to guess.
I don't have to guess. Her name is Aliisha.
Aliisha.
And she looks like she's mixed, actually.
Mixed with what? Salsa?
Latinx and white, maybe?
Salsa and white?
It looks kind of
salsa and sour cream?
It looks like Latinx and white. She's 19. She spent 12 years at Hartford, Connecticut Public School District, testified at a May City Council meeting, explaining her unique situation, how the educational system failed her. I decided the school had 12 years. She's Puerto Rican, by the way.
Oh, Puerto Rican.
Native of Puerto Rico.
Yeah! You gonna blast this fool or what, Holmes?
Is the music playing?
Oh, yeah, sure is, dude. Sure is.
Sorry, I didn't have my hand.
Nah, don't worry about it, man. Don't worry about it.
I don't want to interrupt.
I love it so much that I never ask him to turn it off, man. What's her name again?
Aliisha Ortiz.
Aliisha Ortiz!
So she's suing the Hartford Board.
Flautas!
She's suing the Hartford Board of Education.
Okay.
The city of Hartford and her special education case manager for negligence. According to the lawsuit, she began having problems with letter, sound, and number recognition as early as first grade. And because those issues were not addressed, she's been acting out of school. I was a bad child, blah, blah, blah.
Did she say it like that, or did she say, I was a bad child?
I don't know that she even speaks English. She says, I didn't know English very well. I didn't know the rules of the
She
school.
was a malo child. That means bad in Spanish.
Some of it is probably bullshit. Some of it is she was just an asshole.
Yeah.
And now she's trying to fucking sue the city for it or whatever. But this is a pretty good microcosm. Bob, do you know what social promotion is in public education?
I do not, actually. Okay. I never stepped foot into a public school.
Good for you.
Good for you, Bob. Man, it's rich and white is the way to go, isn't it? Fucking A. That'll never go out of style. It'll never go out of style.
Why do you think I buy Ralph Lauren all the time?
I get it, dude.
Like, it's always in style.
And everybody asks, man. They're like, hey, dude. And it's like, yeah, the hype is there. Because the rich moments in my life, the hype is real. Like, it's just fucking awesome.
I'm chat GPTing this so I can get some specific phraseology. Social promotion is the practice of advancing students to the next grade level, regardless of their academic performance or mastery of required skills. It is used to prevent students from being held back, even if they have not met all learning standards.
I've heard of that, actually.
Yeah, so it's very common.
It is common,
It's very common.
Yeah. And they'll push
Very
them up.
common, yes.
They'll kind of keep pushing them up.
So their idea, this is part of this harm reduction stuff that's been happening. Like everybody gets a free needle, everybody gets a trophy, blah, 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 right?
Yeah.
No consequences, no expectations of you.
Yeah.
You fucking piece of shit. You can't do anything. So to prevent emotional and social harm, to keep students with their age peer group, to avoid extra costs for schools, and to focus on interventions instead, which like tutoring and summer school, which they don't ever fucking do. Now, obviously, this is a terrible, terrible way to go about life. Under no circumstances should you expect this to be an effective policy. Like, hey, little Jimmy's a dipshit. Fuck it.
Yeah.
Get him out of here. And, one of the other things is about the schools don't want a problem kid in that grade again. So they it's like, hey, it's your problem.
Yeah,
now.
you got to get them the fuck out of there.
That's a big part of it. But yeah, social. This is what's happened to this young woman. She's been socially, instead of slapped in the fucking face when she was acting like a bitch.
Yeah.
Right, and then say, hey, learn fucking English, or shut the fuck up. Right, or put in the hallway. You don't get to participate in class. You got to go sit out there. They were like, yeah, fuck it. Promoter, next grade up, right? That's how they handled this for 12 consecutive years for this woman.
We had one of those, by the way, and it was he was a little tinkster as well, and they just kept pushing him through. He was so fucking out of control, this kid, that like, yeah, the teachers hated him, and they were just like, just keep moving him, get him out of my fucking class.
You know what's weird? In my 8th grade class at my Catholic grade school, we had a kid who was held back a year, who was hilarious, by the way.
Okay.
He was so much fun in class. Probably why he was held back a year.
Goddamn.
And then we had another girl.
Get to the fucking point.
No, Bob, I enjoy the story. Keep going. I got nothing to do today.
Who was moved up a year.
Okay.
We had like I don't know why, but the school was just like, yeah, fuck it, if you want to go up, and then like the other kid was like, they're like, no, you can't keep going.
I don't agree with either, by the way, because that was offered to me as a kid, and I think you're too young when you get to the end of high school and shit like that, and like looking back on it, if they would have skipped me that grade, man, that would have sucked. Like, I was already a late birthday anyway, so I was like the last one to get a car and all that other shit. And everybody else was driving, having fun, finger blasting, like everything else. And I didn't have a car.
It's even worse in college, right? You don't turn 21 till your senior year.
Yes, dude, all of it.
Nightmare.
And like, I actually just went through this with my son, my middle child, Jagger. So Jagger he had to legally start kindergarten at the age of 4 because his birth date fell on the exact day. And they were like, sorry, you can't you can't hold him back or, put him in.
Was this in North Carolina?
It's here. It's right here.
Fuck that.
I know.
What day is your kid's birthday?
August.
Okay.
Without going into specifics, but
my kid's September 1st, so we're on the same.
You're on the cusp. So like, yeah. I'm on the starting day of school here in Texas, right? And I was like, dude, he's fucking 4, man. And so he had to start kindergarten at 4, and then me and my wife had to make a decision of holding him back because I go to the principal and I was like, yo, dude, this means he wouldn't turn 16 until junior year. And I'm like, that's fucked. Like, we're not doing this bullshit.
Well,
so
I think
legally, I could put him in. He did kindergarten, and then I held him back, and he's doing kindergarten again because, no, I don't want that. I think you're underdeveloped and all that other shit.
I think this word legally isn't landing for me.
How so?
Because I don't give a fuck. Maybe I should start an outlaw kindergarten.
Well, you could, and that, by the way, that was the option. Where they were like, "Hey, you can pull him out and put him in some other school and do whatever you want."
There's active schools over here.
If you want to go to this one, right? So, but they were like,
Jagger's going to play sports. He needs to be in a real school. Well, not yet, though. I mean, people have asked me, since we posted that video about public schools sucking, and most of them do, by the way, and then we just pointed out exactly why, frankly.
Right.
Like, a lot of people will come in with their anecdotes like, I actually went to a good public school. I'm like, all right, cool, man. Good for you. Do you know what data is? It's not just what you experience.
Teachers have no incentive to actually be good at their jobs. Like, the best teachers, they have a fucking... Like, once you're there for so many years,
a salary.
You have a
ceiling.
Cap.
Yep.
You can no longer make more money. There's no incentives if your students pass this test, this statewide test, it doesn't matter.
And by the way, Delco, to your point, Texas actually, if you want to give teachers a salary raise, you have to go in and vote on it and do a whole bill to a law thing, which they just did.
And they get like a 25-cent raise.
So
like, it's not
their raise was, because it just passed here in the state of Texas. So, and this is fucked as well. The inner city urban area schools got $3,500 per teacher. And then the rural, which is like the country schools, got $6,500 raise per teacher per year.
And it's not $3,500.
Yeah, none of this should even exist.
$3,500 is not enough.
None of this should even exist until probably junior high. Kids shouldn't be going to school. Now, you can make the argument, and it is a fair argument, that elementary and middle school are basically just daycare centers, right? And that's probably true. I would say it's probably true, right? Not one person learned shit in those years.
You learn how to read.
Yeah.
Dude, I didn't learn how to read at school. I learned how to read at my house. What are you talking about?
You did, but most kids do. So like,
it's not the state's job. We don't co-parent our children with the fucking state, right? And you shouldn't expect to be able to do that. That's a ridiculous expectation to have.
I'm kind of cool with people being educated.
Yeah,
Like
people can get
100 years
educated
ago.
with a fucking book. Like some dipshit blue hair isn't teaching your kid better than you can. What the fuck are you talking
But the
about?
problem is you don't have time to do it because you're working all day.
Oh my God, people work 8 hours, man. It's not that fucking big a deal.
It is.
a
It's
big.
not.
Do you know how fucking tired you're when you get home? Then you
This
gotta deal
is
with
somebody
kids?
without kids, though.
Like, you
This is somebody without
cannot
kids.
do it.
Yeah, it's weird how people did it for thousands of fucking years before the last 100.
50%.
They were dumb as shit.
They were morons.
No,
They were dumb as
they
shit.
weren't. No, they weren't. What are you talking about?
Little House
Years ago, the literacy rate was
Ben Franklin and Thomas fucking Jefferson were taught in a schoolhouse as children. No, they weren't. They were taught by their fucking parents.
They're
There's
rich as
2
fuck.
kids, though.
No, they
That's
weren't.
2
What are you talking
people.
about? They were rich. Ben Franklin didn't come from a rich family.
Oh, my God.
John Adams' dad was a shoemaker, for fuck's sake. This is like the most loser bullshit I've ever heard in my fucking life.
This is someone without children.
No, it's not. You have to accept responsibility for what's going on in your own fucking home instead of trusting the state
That's
to do
fine.
it. Shut up, because this is what fucking happens. We have this bloated Department of Education that spends billions of dollars a year, and as they've done it, we've gone from top 5 to fucking 30th in everything. Right? So don't tell me about how good it is or how we can't do this or can't do that. It's fucking bullshit. You're choosing not to. That's what's happening.
There is no time because of work.
You can do everything you want with your kids perfectly fine, right? How about the rest of society? They're not going to do it.
Yes.
That's not my fucking problem, Dan.
It kind of is.
No,
though.
it's not.
You have to
It's
deal with
absolutely
it.
not. You don't have the right to tell somebody what to do with their kids, how to educate them. What makes you think you do? What makes you think you have the right to tell Bob or Dan or fucking Gary or
I
Gary's
do not. I do
Gary's
not.
not a
The
good
rest of
fucking
society's
example.
going to be all fucked up and illiterate.
I want
Okay.
to
Okay, fine.
outsource my children's education to a large extent to experts who are trained in the field.
You think that somebody teaching second grade is smarter than you about what they're teaching in second grade? You
Yes.
really believe
Yes.
that?
Yes.
That is the dumbest fucking thing I've ever. Have you ever met a second grade teacher?
I do every day.
Jesus fucking Christ!
I have 3 children, though.
This is mind-bogglingly. That's
How,
a word.
how
There it
do
is.
you
Tough word to
interact
say.
with a second grade teacher?
Yeah.
I interact with them by looking their curriculum up on the
you
internet.
You don't.
Yeah, I don't need to know the person to know if they're qualified to teach something better than me. The fuck are you talking about?
But you need to know what you've done.
Absolutely not.
Yes, you don't have kids.
Absolutely
You
not.
do not have children. It is fucking impossible to make that statement.
No, it's not. We did it for a very, very long time.
We didn't.
We didn't.
They weren't
We didn't
educated.
pull
And
up the
also,
stats.
By the way, the data, you want to talk about data versus anecdotes. Thomas Jefferson and Ben Franklin, that's an anecdote. The data said that people were much, much dumber, much, much less literate. The wealth was way lower because they weren't educated. That's all data.
We were a dumb society back then, dude. Dumb.
Hey, to Dan's point, I did sleep with a third grade teacher the other day, and she was a fucking moron.
Yeah, but I mean I think
The
that says more
vast
about what you
majority,
did.
just like TSA and shit like that, the vast majority of these people working these fucking filler jobs that shouldn't exist are midwits or mongoloids. They're not fucking talented. They're not smart. That's who you're sending your kids to. It's just daycare. They're not learning anything. There's nothing that your child learns from kindergarten till probably like 10th grade that you shouldn't be able to teach them yourself. And it's not 1900 anymore. It's not 1850. We don't have some book we don't understand. We have the entire goddamn internet. There's curriculum you can teach your kid at home without exposing them to that bullshit.
But you still have to go and pay for the house, pay for the internet, go and work a job to do it.
So what the fuck's I got to do with
that
anything? You're paying for that shit already anyway.
But when are you doing that with the kids?
What do you mean?
When are you teaching the kids how to learn to read?
This is a choice you make.
Like right now, what do you think? Because I have the number in front of me. What do you think the literacy rate is among adults right now in America?
I have no idea.
Take a guess.
30%.
79%. So that means 21% of our society can't fucking read.
Okay.
21% of adults. These are adults, not kids. Adults can't even fucking read. That's crazy.
So what's your point?
My point
that
is
the system is failing, because I agree.
No, but
that's
my
you just
point
gave me
is,
an example of how the system is failing.
It's at 79 now. If we didn't have any schools whatsoever, and it was up to parents to teach their kids, that rate would probably be at 30%, 40%.
It was in
tops.
1900. It was at 25%.
That's awful.
Yeah, it's not great, but we're not living in 1900 anymore. We have the goddamn internet.
100 years of that education built the infrastructure where all these people are educated now and have, I'm not saying keep the system in place as it is. You know me, I'm pro school choice and all that shit. Stuff needs to be fixed or whatever. But I think in general, as a society, it goes back to the first farmers in cities, when you can outsource tasks to other people, things get more efficient. You obviously don't want to outsource the entire raising of your child, but you need to have experts do little things, and that makes everything more efficient and everyone more freed up to do other work.
And most of like the bloat in the Department of Education and when it comes to schools and public schools, it's admin shit. Like most teachers go in obviously not for the money because they don't get paid shit. They do it because they care for the most part.
Well, the reason that they do it now is because they're childless women who want to fucking co-parent everybody else's kids and make them trans, right? I mean, that's what's happening now. But to your point, Bob, anytime you outsource anything to the state, forget about private contracting and shit like that. That's a whole different situation. Private schools and stuff like that. When you outsource to the state, there is a liberty price to pay for that every single time. And the liberty is somebody telling you that you can't put your kid in school a year late. Well, fuck them. They don't have a right to tell you that. They do not have a right to take your money and then tell you how to fucking spend it.
But they weren't taking my money.
Yeah, they were. You're paying property taxes in Texas, motherfucker.
I'm paying property taxes.
That's what pays for schools in Texas.
For the school system, correct.
Yes.
But there's rules to all of it, and like I understand it. I'm not happy about it, but
yeah, well, there shouldn't be. Nobody has a right to tell you how to educate your own child. They don't have the right to tell you.
I totally agree with that as well.
And they don't have a right to force compliance so that you have to pay for everybody else's kids either. They don't have the right to do that.
So for you, would you not have kids in school?
No.
Okay.
No.
So you're dating somebody with kids right now, right?
Yeah, homeschool.
So and they're homeschooled?
Yep.
They don't go to school at all?
They go to one, it's like an Acton or a Montessori or some shit like that.
What is that?
Those are private schools. So Acton is Montessori without the gay shit. I think that's reductive, but that's pretty, like Tucker Max sends his kids to one of those.
Okay, gotcha.
The schools that Tim runs, they're basically that.
Okay, and what do they do there? What's the curriculum?
It's normal curriculum, but you're outside more, right? The parents have full visibility on all the stuff that's happening. By the stuff, I mean the curriculum and shit like that. And to some degree, it depends on the school, but you get some measure of control over the curriculum as well, right? Now, I think that you should have the option to do any of the stuff that you want, right? Any of this stuff,
which we do,
and I don't think, but I'll adjust. I'll adjust a little bit. Probably junior high is where you need to go to a public school if you're going to be involved in sports or music or anything that's an extracurricular that requires that infrastructure, and then probably just do it anyway. So by that time, you can make good decisions and you can be exposed to different cultural bullshit. But before that, I don't want my kids anywhere near these people. Like, oh, you send your kids to public school so they get more well-rounded culturally. I don't want them well-rounded culturally. I want them to adopt my culture because it's the one that's the best, right? Like, that's a fucking crazy idea that you would expose your kids to multiculturalism at a young age. Not saying that that's what you guys do. It's like that's the typical leftist argument about this.
Yeah, but for me, my kids go to public school, and I'm adamant about it because I went there. And I think it teaches you to kind of deal with everything socially as well as learning-wise. The public schools that we go to are great, obviously. But even sitting down with him last year, my oldest, who's in 4th grade, he was learning shit that was way, way more advanced than I was learning in 4th grade. And even some of it I had to look up on the side where I was just like, holy shit, I forgot how to do that. I mean, there was some intense algebra and some other shit that was going on there. So
this is... one that's useless, frankly, right? Like your kid doesn't need to know algebra at 4 years old. Your kid doesn't.
No, 4th grade.
Or 4th grade.
4th grade.
Your kid doesn't ever need to know algebra, really, right? Unless they're going to do something that requires that kind of thinking. Now, but let's give everybody a little bit of basics. I'm fine with algebra and geometry, but once you get into advanced algebra and calculus and trigonometry in high school, in a non-specialized school, that is fucking stupid. It's a waste of money. It's a waste of their time. Teach them how to do shit that's practical in the real world, and those are the options that a more bespoke private organization is going to give you. And let's be really clear about this. If you, Bob's a supporter of this as well, with school choice, private vouchers, however you want to call it.
I think private vouchers is sort of the way they diminish it.
Yeah, that's the negative way to say it. But yeah. I don't know why it would be negative. It's your fucking money, right? So the money follows the kid wherever you want to put them, right?
Yeah.
And if you're a responsible parent, you fucking monitor the kid's situation. Be like, hey, what kind of shit are you into? Okay, well, maybe we need to switch you over to this school. The money can go over there. Or you can pay attention to whether your school sucks or not. And if it does, be like, well, fuck you, I'm taking my money elsewhere. You have that right to do that. And we will spend less money on education. We will spend less money with a better outcome. These public schools are fucking terrible. They're absolutely terrible. They're run by the state. You wouldn't do, there's nothing else that you would do. You wouldn't opt into something that was strictly run by the government. You wouldn't. There's not one other thing other than your child's education that you would opt into that's run by the government. So why that?
But because I looked at the curriculum, so when you start, they give you the curriculum and everything else, and it was like, yeah, everything's on the up and up here, and that's exactly what I would want my kids to learn throughout the day. Yeah,
that's what you think. The problem is you can't monitor it, and to be clear, there are some very good public school systems like.
The public schools here, so far, so good. So I don't have any complaints.
In Dripping, they're really good. Other places in Texas, now there's a group in Dallas that's really good too. I'm told anyway.
Highland Park, all those guys up there.
There's one in what's that city that's just southeast of Las Vegas? Fuck, I think it starts with a G. There's like some of the best schools in the country right there. All the rest of the areas suck.
They've got very good private schools there.
Yeah.
I know that.
Well, no, these are the public schools.
Okay.
Like some of the top-ranked public schools are actually in Florida now. I think three of the top 5 ranked public schools are in Florida now. But there are public schools that are very good. That's not the point. The point is that each individual parent should be able to choose that. And building this, trusting the state with any of this is fucking social suicide.
Part of this too, though, is as much as you're like, anyone is like, oh, the state, like. Parents have quite a bit of control over public schools that I think a lot of citizens have just ceded out of laziness or complacency or whatever. Like, there are school boards, there are a million ways for citizens to get involved where it is the community running things. I mean, it is it is very much set up for citizens to run it in the area, and if things get outsourced, I mean, I don't think enough citizens ever blame themselves for what happens.
No,
Bob, I overturned a school board in North Carolina.
Right.
So
yeah, citizens are 100% to blame. 100% because they've allowed this system to develop in the first place.
Right.
Like
you have the ability to overthrow it. Yeah. We did it pretty quickly.
Well, not entirely now. The problem now is that you don't have the ability to overthrow it. There are pockets where there's been success, but even now in Loudoun County, Virginia, right? Loudoun County, where the governor of that state was signing McAuliffe, was signing bills back in 2014 and 15 to teach all this trans CRT bullshit, and then they got caught, and then the fucking people went to the school board and bitched about it, and the FBI put them on a watch list for it. That's the state. That's what the state does. So the parents don't have that much option anymore in a lot of places around America, right? They don't. And it depends on who's in office and what's going on there. That was such a big deal that it flipped an election, right, in Virginia. But still, Loudoun County is filing lawsuits against parents. Still, to this day, that's still happening, right? So this system needs to be completely eradicated, this public school system, the idea, and we pretend like it's always existed and it's been beneficial. It was created by Rockefeller and Henry Ford to make factory workers. We don't do that anymore. This whole system and it was designed around factory work as well, with different shifts, with an 8-hour workday, quote unquote workday, with a lunch. It was designed this way on purpose to get people used to working on the factory floor. We don't do this anymore. The whole thing is fucking stupid, and it's stupid because we left it up to the state. They fuck everything. Name one good thing that our country does well. Like one thing. Healthcare, no. Fucking defense, we're spending 20 times more than the next, other than China and Russia. 4 through 15, we spend 20 times more than that group combined, right? Yep. For what? We've got 3,000 miles of ocean around us. It's fucking ridiculous. The state never gets anything right because, like I said before, there is no competition. There's no competition in that, and that's always a fucking mistake.
Well, these bills are passing now. I think
Texas is almost done, right?
Texas is almost done. Idaho just passed 2 days ago.
It's going to pass. I don't actually know where it's at, but it's going to pass.
Yeah, it's going to pass. I believe 8 states, Bob. You can look this up. Have already passed. I know Idaho just passed 2 days ago.
Oh, it's way more than 8.
I know it's up to 8 for sure, and then there's a bunch on the ballot for it. So we'll see what happens there. And then you have California with Gavin Newsome, who is trying to change everything. Maybe, according to his interview with Charlie Kirk. And Bob, you can play that clip right now.
He's just full of shit.
That's what
he's running for president.
That's what I think, and I'll let you guys be the judge of this. But this story's been popping up today, so if you want to find that clip on Twitter
I'll
and play
pull it up real quick.
Yeah.
With states with full school choice, basically, or near universal, 15.
Total right now that have passed?
And then there's another 14 that have some more limited version.
And
Linda McMahon just got confirmed, by the way, for Department of Education.
Which, by the way, did you see that picture of her in the Oval? So,
did she powerbomb?
Yeah,
Trump?
No. But pull up the picture of her in the Oval with Trump, because it's her and Shane and Stephanie and
really.
God, was who else was there? There it is, the second row left.
Okay,
pull this picture up. There's Triple H. I just want to point this out. My friend, my internet friend, and then there's obviously the man over there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people. 6 people in this photo have been stone cold stunned. Including the President
Trump.
of the United States.
Trump, dude. I remember
Shane
that.
McMahon, Triple H, Stephanie, Linda, and the dad.
Zoom in on Stephanie. I haven't seen her in a while. I just watched that doc because she kind of stepped back for a while.
You're living in, like, as much as
She looks great.
As much as I bitch, well, fucking Hunter, open your eyes, dude. What the hell? And none of the kids are looking in the right direction. This is what happens when there's multiple cameras.
There's 9 cameras.
One camera at a fucking time. You stupid assholes.
Man can't blink.
No, he can blink. The problem here, this is what happens.
You can't. You get one shot with the president. They let you take one photo like that, and it's so fast. No, you can't blink. You just got to hold your eyes.
There's
over
probably a better
seconds.
photo because even Trump is looking off to his left. But I just like, this is the timeline that you're living in right now. This is a picture of the Secretary of Education, the president, and her family.
Yeah.
And all of the adults in the photo, except for Shane's wife, have been stone cold stunned.
That's awesome, dude. God damn it, that's awesome.
That's
That's
timeline we're living
America.
in. So as much as I bitch about the state of the country right now, there are some positive things.
There are. And
wrestling's
we're
back,
seeing it
too.
right there. Wrestling is way back, dude. Lex Luger just got inducted into the Hall of Fame today, so that's nice.
The what Hall of Fame?
WWE. Wrestling Hall of Fame.
Is there not like an
You know who showed up? Cody Rhodes showed up today and did it for him. There was a video online. We can play it after this. But
anyways, back to Newsom's bullshit.
Yeah, because he went into the school issue and trans and athletes and all that other shit. It appears as if he's flipped on everything. Now, do I believe him? Absolutely not. Is he running for president, to your point, in 2028?
100%.
Yes.
Well, I mean, he's going to try.
What this feels like. And there's an interesting connector here, which I'll tell you about right after the video. Play it for the audience.
You right now should come out and be like, you know what? The young man who's about to win the state championship in the long jump in female sports, that shouldn't happen. You as the governor should step out and say no.
No, and I appreciate
but like, would you do something like that? Would you say no men in female sports?
Well, I think it's an issue of fairness. I completely agree with you on that. So that's easy to call out, the unfairness of that. There's also a humility and a grace, that these poor people are more likely to commit suicide, have anxiety and depression. And the way that people talk down to vulnerable communities is an issue that I have a hard time with as well. So both things I can hold in my hand. How can we address this issue with the kind of decency that I think, is inherent in you, but not always expressed?
So like you right now should come.
Here's how you deal with it. You don't let men watch young women undress. Mm-hmm. Easy.
It's pretty simple.
I just fixed it for you, Gavin. That'll be $25,000.
Not unless it's a funny peephole like in Porky's. Then it's fine.
Then you're good.
Yeah, what was the ski movie that they did it into?
Which one? It was like an 80s one?
Yeah, it was one of the 80s ones. I can't remember which one it was. They did
Ski Patrol.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, they
dude,
did a
Ski
parody. They
Patrol.
did a parody of it on It's Always Sunny. The guy gets arrested at the end of the fucking episode, which is nice.
So yeah, he's backing out of trans in sports. He's doing that. What else did he say here? Because there was 3 other. I mean, he went down the list of pretty much all the talking points that were failures of the Democratic Party in this last election, and he said, he's ready to move on there. I don't know that anyone believes him. 1, 2, with the fires and all that other shit out there.
Yeah,
I don't know that he's well enough liked to even get through a primary process.
Yeah, I mean,
that party.
He's in California for sure, but the rest of the Democratic Party, I mean, honestly, for the primary process, he would, yeah.
Yeah, who do they have? They have fucking no one else.
Tim Walz?
No.
It's too early to even think about.
But
Like,
Newsom's going to get his fucking ducks in a row. The rest of the country isn't aware of what he's doing in California. Sure, Californians don't like him, but they'll vote for a Democrat regardless.
I don't know. Keep an eye on Shapiro, Josh Shapiro, so I got an eye on.
Yeah, you're talking about in California, that's 100% true. And then in Massachusetts, probably that's true. A couple other states, maybe, but the amount of money, like you don't even have to run a campaign against Newsom. All you have to do is take his old clips and his performance and turn them into ads and just publish them.
I know.
Like it would be the easiest campaigin ever. If you just expose Americans to all the stupid shit. Like, for example, that God, who was it? Who was that dipshit that was running here in Texas that was trying to make the tranny shit legal? And the ad was it against Ted Cruz?
It was Allred.
Bald dude?
Allred, yeah.
Allred
it was like
Colin Allred.
He's for us, and this guy's for they, them, or whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
That ad crushed him. And they didn't even spend that much money on it.
Nope. Dude,
that's like, there's so many iterations of that for Newsom. There's no way he can win federally.
That's what I think. I think your best bet is Shapiro.
But that's definitely true. But that doesn't mean that the Democrats won't run him and try to pull some shit.
They will.
I don't mean like stealing the election.
No. They will. They'll run him, and I think.
But they'll try to gaslight the fuck out of people. For sure.
I think that's that.
You just don't understand the complexities of governing the largest state in the union.
I think that side of the party though will have like 12 people. It's very good. I think that party on the Democratic side, we'll probably have like 12 people running the same as kind of the Republicans did.
And they should. There's some like Josh Shapiro is a legitimate candidate. I know Pritzker's got to try to throw in.
No,
he's completely unelectable.
He's got the money to bankroll himself, but that's about it.
Yeah. Certainly that helps. It helped Trump there, but like having the media exposure plus that is what really did it for Trump. And Pritzker won't have that. Bob said it right. It's too early, really. There's going to be.
It is.
It's
way too early.
The field will pop up with probably 14, with 4 of them not really legitimate.
Yeah.
And then 10 will be semi-legitimate, with only maybe 2 or 3 that can actually win the election. Shapiro will be the top for sure.
Right now, he's leading Clubhouse.
Yeah, but I don't know if Fetterman does more.
No,
he's playing the fence pretty hard right now, which it's working for him. His polling numbers are really high.
I just don't think on a national level he's still going to be.
He's really ugly.
Yes,
in the modern day and age, it's unlikely that America elects an ugly president, but a VP maybe.
Our president's not going to wear a suit.
Yeah, he's going to wear gym shorts and a.
He's in the Oval Office and he's
hoodie.
just in fucking. He's in Fury. Like he has to upgrade, so it's got to be nicer stuff. But it's still gym wear.
It'll go from Oval Office with 6 dudes who've been or 6 people who've been stone cold stunned to a guy who celebrated every single one, like watched every single one.
He was at ECW.
Yeah,
I think AOC too will get some money.
No.
I think she'll try to run as well.
No,
Reps don't do well in primaries.
Reps do really badly.
Congress, yeah. So
I don't think she would give up. She's got a little fiefdom there. She's winning 85%. In her area, she's not giving that
and
up.
Just stealing money and doing all that shit.
Maybe a big Gretch.
She can get really powerful.
Big Gretch.
I think she will run. Yes, I think she'll be one of the 12 or 14.
Maybe the chick, the senator from Michigan as well, who gave that.
Klobuchar?
No.
That's Minnesota.
She was terrible.
She's bad.
She was terrible.
I still think John Ossoff in Georgia is
maybe. You
got to get more famous.
If you're gonna narrow it down, just pick a swing state and pick the most popular Democrat from there. Right?
I only knew him, Bob, because he was from my district when he ran the first time, like in Georgia. So that's the only reason I knew him, and it was one of those things where he didn't live in the district, and people were bitching like my friends from home and shit. So
he's just a young, good-looking guy.
He is, and he's very well spoken. He just needs to get more fame because right now you're not doing any of this shit without a fame anymore.
Yeah, it's always been a popularity contest to some degree. That's the American media developed to some degree out of American politics, right? It came in a large part. It's that and product stuff, but that was a big part of it as well. And I think if I had to rank them right now, I'd probably say Shapiro 1, Whitmer 2, Ossoff 3, and then everybody else. Because they're all 3 of them are legit candidates in any field ever, right? Like they may not win, but those are all legitimate candidates in any time frame. But certainly if you look down the rest of the Democratic Party, it is a fucking it has to be somebody who's either avoided to some degree all the woke stuff. or at least backtracked on it at this point. Shapiro's not gotten involved. He's pretty clean on that issue.
Yeah.
Not that he hasn't supported it in some ways, right? But he's not like out there. He's not like Tim Walz doing jazz hands and talking about trans people and shit. He's probably the cleanest, I would think. But there's also a lot of, we talked about at the opening of the show, there's also a lot of anti-Jew sentiment going on.
Ossoff,
Well,
elected a
Ossoff
Jew.
is Jewish as
Yeah,
well,
so
by the way.
it might just be
Yeah,
Big
I know.
Gretch.
And it might be just Big Gretch, man. By the way,
Big Gretch with fucking Lurch as her VP, that would be, they could win that, for sure.
Speaking of which, Bob, go to your Twitter right now.
But that motherfucker's got to wear a suit.
This is trending right now. Bill Nye just did a Nazi salute on stage, so he's trending #1 in
Yeah, I saw
America
that
right
too.
now. Pop that up. I want to see it.
Now our scientists can't be Nazis?
Like,
Well, he's not a
he's
scientist.
not a scientist, though. If he
Yeah.
was,
He doesn't get a
yes.
pass, yeah.
He doesn't get a pass, dude. Play this.
Science.
Oh, yeah, dude. And the way he even said it with a little German accent, too. I like that.
The science.
I like it. You know what everybody's going to do? Everybody's going to start freeze framing all this shit, and you just can't even make the motion anymore. You got to stop your arm shoulder high, because after that, it's just too much.
Yeah, but
you know?
after the fact with the Elon thing, didn't the Bannon one kind of seem intentional?
The Bannon one did to me. That one did for sure. And I can't figure out
He's a
what
troll.
his story is.
He was just being a dick.
I don't know.
He thinks it's
I don't know
funny,
what
and
it
it's
is.
not funny. It's
Yeah.
not funny.
He's a troll, and he has way too many weird connections with Epstein.
Yeah, it would be
Does he
funny.
really?
It would be funny if we did it,
Yeah.
because this is a
We're a
comedy
podcast
show,
and it's a
right?
comedy show. Who cares?
But he was an advisor to the president, right? You can't I understand the desire. Believe me, I understand the desire to troll everybody all the time. I feel that desire deeply in my bones. It's one of the most important things to me, actually. But you understand who you are and what you're doing. And it was funny. It is funny that he did it. He did it just to hey, fuck you.
Yeah.
You can't stop me. You can't
Exactly.
cancel me. I'm Steve Bannon, right? It's like, all right, man. But was that point worth making?
I don't think
Everybody
so.
already knows that you're uncancelable. You're
I
fucking
agree.
Steve Bannon.
I agree, and he does have a huge podcast, and you got to get back to some sort of normalcy, I guess, for him, because
This
he was in
is normal
jail, he
for
was
him,
out of
though,
jail. I know.
I think.
I don't know anymore with that guy, and that's the thing. I used to think I knew who, I had a grasp on who Steve Bannon was, and I just don't anymore.
He was in charge of rehabilitating Epstein's image when he first got allegations.
Was he really?
That's not great.
That's not great. How are they friends? What's the connection there?
New York money.
I think he was just hired to
Okay.
rehabilitate his image.
That's not sweet at all. Was that recently, or was that after 08?
Oh no, this was really
It
early.
would have been the first charges, 08, 09, probably.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Still not great.
No, still not great.
Speaking of not great, to put a bow on that Columbia thing, I know we kind of glossed over because we got into a heated debate about who actually cares about their children. Bob, by the way, I think I saw Wheelchair say that it was getting passed in this legislative cycle. I don't know when it would
Yeah,
be.
it's
I don't
a
know when it would
priority.
be implemented, though. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Because it might. I think they usually start. The spring session usually starts in June, right? Not the session, but when they make a law, it usually starts that following June here in Texas.
I'm not positive on that. But it's
that would make sense to do it during the summer, though, right? So you have
100%.
time to fucking do everything.
Yeah, I do know it's a top 2 legislative priority for him.
Yeah.
So it's going to be quick.
Yeah. So here's the other part of this. A lot of people are on board with what Trump did to Columbia. I don't think they should be getting money in the first place, right? And also, I think that universities should be encouraged in any way possible to include with funding to stop this. Protest all you want. Nobody cares, right? But you don't have the right to impede somebody else's movements. You can't go into a building and fucking shut down classrooms. You can't stand in the street. Get the fuck out of the way.
Yeah.
Right? Do your protest, whatever. Have fun. Kick a hacky sack around after, whatever you fucking guys do. I don't care, right? But when they use the phrase illegal protest, that rubs me the wrong way. Because there's no such thing as an illegal protest. There's a protest, and if somebody commits a crime, they're committing a crime, right? And if it is multiple people, a group of people committing crimes, then it's not a protest anymore. It's a riot. So call it that.
Yeah.
Let's make rioting illegal and then clearly define what rioting is.
And I think they're trying to, by the way. So I know they were talking about it, and in particular with the clip we showed you at the top of the show, the protest itself, to your point, was not illegal. It was saying that they wanted to kill Jews. And that's what got them arrested.
Well, that's a school policy that would make it illegal. So you set a school policy and say, hey, you can't call for violence. And then once they do, you say this is now what do you call it? This is now a riot
not
or whatever.
compliant.
Yeah, now you're not in compliance. You have to leave. And when they don't leave, then they've committed a crime called trespassing. Then you can arrest them, right? So there's a process to all this.
Yeah.
We're also getting to like a weird space when you're kind of policing speech of what's anti-Semitism.
Well, this is
and what's not.
this is the bigger point, Delco. I'm glad you brought it up because in the spring, summer of last year, Republicans in the House, it was in May of last year, passed a bill called the Antisemitism Awareness Act.
Okay.
Right? And it was a bipartisan vote, 320 to 91.
I remember that vote, but what did it entail?
The proponents of it say that it was adopting IHRA, like the Human Rights Act definition for hate speech, I guess. And it's a crucial, quote unquote, crucial for effectively identifying and combating anti-Semitism, particularly on college campuses where incidents have reportedly increased. The government's job is not to combat anti-Semitism. As a matter of fact, anti-Semitism is perfectly legal. It's not reasonable. I don't think. I think it's stupid, and what a waste of fucking time that is.
Sure.
Go live. We're successful people.
Yeah.
No Jews stop me from doing what I wanted to do. It sounds like you're just a fucking loser, to be honest. But beyond that
That's
point,
the same way I view like white supremacists.
everything.
Where I'm
Like,
just
oh, there's
dude.
well, it's not even white supremacists. It's the fucking woke people too.
Yeah,
The reason
yes,
I'm not
yes.
successful is because white men stopped me from doing it. Like,
Right,
fuck
right,
off, dude.
right.
Like, get the fuck
All
out of
those
here.
groups,
It's
you
all the
can be
same.
lumped
It's all
into
the same
one, yeah.
bullshit, right? So there's that. There's the fact that the U.S. Congress tried to leverage the Civil Rights Act just last summer to criminalize, to some degree, anti-Semitism, which is completely unconstitutional. That is fucked. Now, the Senate didn't pass it. They were like, no, we're not even going to vote on this.
But Congress
Passed it 320 to 91. And then I've mentioned this before, by the way. Also last year in 2024, I think it was, hold on, let me find it. There's something called, Rick Scott was involved in this, Marco Rubio. The House passed a resolution in 2019 condemning boycotting Israel, but there was actual legislation that was attempted to be passed in Congress. I've talked about it on the show before, that would criminalize a U.S. contractor, not make it where you can't get contracts, but make it criminal to not do business with Israel. And it included up to 20 years in prison, like thousands of dollars worth of fines and 20 years in prison for not doing business with Israel. The government has no fucking business being involved in this and picking winners and losers and telling people what they can and can't say and telling people who they can and cannot work with. The right of association is fundamental to liberty. I get to pick who I want to fucking deal with. I don't want to make a gay cake, then I'm not going to. There's another cake store right down the street. As a matter of fact, if you're a gay dude looking for a gay cake and fucking store X won't sell you one, go start a gay cake store and make money. There's a gap in the market. That's how fucking free markets work, bitch. Right? You don't have the right to tell people who they can associate with. And that's what this does.
It does, but there's a lot of shit that goes through Congress that never gets passed as a bill through Senate, and I think this is one of them.
This was AIPAC funded.
Yeah. And
Right.
this will never go through Senate, in my opinion.
No, it'll never pass, but this is what they're trying to do.
They're trying to do it.
This is what they're trying to do. So when anybody, including the president, says that we're trying to do this about anti-Semitism or this on college campuses and blah, 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 I'm like, absolutely fucking not.
Yeah.
Rioting is already illegal. Trespassing is already illegal. Theft, destruction of property, they're already illegal. Go fucking arrest the people that are doing them. That's fine. If you want to tell Columbia, hey, you've got to arrest people who are committing crimes, otherwise we're going to take federal funding from you, fine. But leave the Jews out of it because they're not special.
We have some breaking news.
I know an adult. Is it the Gene Hackman thing?
Yep.
You fucker. I was just going to say it.
What
I read
happened
it.
with him now?
It's so
Grim.
dark that
It's
like
the darkest thing I've
this
ever
is
heard.
why we're going live on YouTube on Fridays now because this is dark,
This
dude.
is horrible.
This just got sent to me.
Here's what I heard, by the way. I want to run. This is what I heard 2 days ago.
Take a guess, and I'll read what the
yeah.
medical examiner just
Here's
posted.
what I had heard. is what I had heard. The dog was in a kennel in the closet, so that wasn't really a huge issue like it seemed from the initial report. That's one. The other thing is Hackman was having a heart attack or something. She ran to get the pills, fell, hit her head, dead. And everybody died. That's what I heard.
So here's the actual answer. Worse. This is worse.
Oh, my God.
This is going to be worse.
That's tragic that she was trying to save him and they both died. You're saying that it's worse than that.
Yes. So here's the real story. Dr. Heather Jarrell, the chief medical investigator at the New Mexico Office of the Medical Investigator, great, I don't know that we needed to repeat that there, said that it was possible actor Gene Hackman was not aware that his wife had died several days earlier because Hackman showed evidence of advanced Alzheimer's disease, and he had been walking around the house with her dead in it for days.
She died of hantavirus.
Yeah.
Allegedly.
What's that?
It's
where ghosts sneak up on you, right?
Oh shit, dude!
Suddenly,
it's from spread by rodents, and that she died. The pills by her body were thyroid medication.
Is it like meningitis or something?
Yes, it's kind of like that. I think it's just like it's something that can kill you. That's kind of rare.
Yeah.
Anyway, he had advanced Alzheimer's, so she was basically keeping him alive, right?
Yep.
She dies of hantavirus on February 11th. He walks around the house for a week with Alzheimer's, not knowing what's going on with the dog in the kennel.
Yep.
And then just dies
on his own
a week later because he's not getting his meds or whatever else.
Yeah.
I thought he committed suicide.
No.
That fucking sucks, man.
No. And so imagine having Alzheimer's, your wife dies, you're out in the middle of fucking nowhere in New Mexico, and then you're just walking around the house for an entire week with your wife dead, and more than likely that dog either fucking screaming his goddamn face off, or, I mean, what is it?
It's whining, and then it starves to death.
Oh, God, dude.
Yeah, that sucks. I mean, to be honest, the saddest part about that is the dog. To me, I don't care about those people.
I do. That sucks, man.
I mean, it sucks.
Gene Hackman?
The good news is she died, and he doesn't know what the fuck's going on, right? Which is bad anyway. Like, Alzheimer's is not, like, silly forgetful. It's like you wake up and remember who you are for 5 seconds. It's not like the fucking Notebook. You wake up and remember. Well, I mean, I guess kind of is. You wake up and remember who you are for 5 seconds, but then you go into a state of agitation immediately after that. Like, who the fuck are you?
Yep.
What are you doing? Right.
Yep.
I've seen it up close. Alzheimer's. It's fucking ugly, man.
It's gnarly, man.
It's ugly.
And here, like Bob, not only is this story dark, but the worst part about it is the reason why he left Hollywood so abruptly was to have everybody remember him for the way he was in movies, being Gene Hackman, being awesome, and then retiring out in the middle of nowhere so he could die in peace. Everybody just remembers him being awesome Gene Hackman. And now, this was 20 years ago he retired, like 20 years ago, and he did a great job of it. There was only one photo of him taken in town by some dickhead paparazzi, and then now this has been the talk of the last 2 weeks, and sadly, the only thing we're going to remember is him walking around the house for an entire week.
Just lost.
With his wife dead and a dog dead in a closet.
It really sucks. This is a good... Again,
damn it, I didn't want to know this, man.
Another thing from the past, just like educating kids, that's become more... It's actually become easier, but also more difficult because of our schedules now, right? Generational households. If you look at the data on generational households about not just taking care of your parents when they get older, but also their relationship with the grandkids and how that benefits both of them specifically.
Yeah.
It's like you can't compare it, right? And he's got 3 kids, but I'm sure they're off doing shit. It just sucks. And part of it is because the United States is so successful, but also the sprawl, right? Like if you lived in Italy, no matter how successful you got, you're still only at most a couple hours away from your parents.
Well, the problem is, and like, because I, helped my parents into retirement and all that stuff in Wilmington, and then we ended up moving 8 or 9 months later, and it sucked. One, because I get along with my parents. 2, my kids get along with, they love their grandparents and all that other stuff. But work, unfortunately, will take you to Austin, where, people offer you more money and all the other stuff, and then you got to leave. And yeah, it's the same way with them, right? They got kids. You assume the mom she was what, 64, Bob? So so
were the kids.
Were they really? Fuck.
I think his oldest son is 65.
That makes sense. She was like 30 years
Yeah, he's in his 90s, so
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the issue, though, too, with America is we just don't have reverence for elders.
Yeah.
We're just like, you're an old bitch. You don't know anything.
Yeah. Yeah, it's bullshit.
It's bullshit.
That's a big
sucks.
that's a big part of civilization. I've talked about this mostly on Citizen actually, but we used to be set up. When I say we, I mean Western civilization, and it's still true in a lot of the Eastern Hemisphere. Excuse me, where you borrow honor from your ancestors. Right? My great grandfather was in this. My grandfather's in World War II. Blah blah blah. Right? And you borrow that honor and make it part of your identity. And then part of your mission as a human being is to carry that honor into the future in an honorable way so that your ancestors can look back on you and be proud and continue that tradition. Whether it's your Irish heritage or it's fucking Catholicism or Judaism or Christianity in general, or maybe you're in a specific industry. Like we've been suit makers. We've been making Italian suits for 100 years, 500 years, whatever the fuck, right? They used to be a big part of Western civilization, and it still is in the East to some degree, and we got to get back to that.
By the way,
that's such a huge part. And so when I say heroes matter, that's one of the things I'm talking about. Not just the people and culture that we heroize, but your fucking dad.
Yeah, and
your grandfather, your great grandfather, right?
And by the way, like with Mexican culture, and I said this of like, hey, dude, if we owned Mexico, I think it'd be great. That's one of my favorite parts of their culture is the family oriented, where it's multiple generations. Italian, same way. Shit, my wife makes me watch the goddamn Bachelor on Monday nights, and they went to hometowns and met this chick's family. The one house I went into was this Italian family, and there was like 40 of them there, all with like the greatest food. They're partying together and everything else. And I was like, well, shit, if I walked into that house, that would rock. Like, yeah, I would want to choose this family if that was the right person, because that seems fun.
Well, like an Italian villa, you'll be born in one house, and then you get the lower villa when you get married. And then when your parents die, you go back up to the one that you were born in. You know what I mean? And look, we can't replicate all that stuff, but Shogun in the chat makes a good point. Old people are living history. They lived through wars. But think about yourself in your 80s, right?
Yeah.
You're going to be able to tell your 30-year-old grandchild, like, hey, I know some of this social stuff you're seeing seems appealing, but let me tell you how it went when we actually tried it, right? Dudes were beating up women. Fucking everything fell apart. Our economy collapsed. You can't do this shit anymore, right? Like that's an important part of this is all of human history, regardless of where you're from, is oral tradition. That's where it began. We began as fucking grunting cavemen sitting around a fire, listening to an elder in the tribe talk about where the rain comes from and where the sun comes from and what our ancestors did and blah, blah. Maybe it was all bullshit, but that was history. That was your identity for 30,000 years before the printing press showed up. Now we've got stories, right? Stuff like that. But that was your identity for all that time. And we went from sitting around a campfire, hearing stories of our ancestors, to sitting around
Grok and just asking Grok.
No, well, sitting around the radio listening to serialized C.S. Lewis and Louis L'Amour, to sitting around the TV listening to the president talk, to now sitting around watching memes and shit like that. And this is how we communicate. And if you take that sitting around part away, if you're not sitting around with the generation prior to you and the generation after you and having these types of communications, then we lose our civilization. It goes away. It becomes susceptible, like, oh, maybe we should let a bunch of fucking rapists into our country just because life's too hard for them. Like, no, fuck those guys.
Yeah.
They've got a country, they can fix it. I don't have time for this shit, right? This is what postmodernism aimed to do, was to make nothing real. Nothing's real. Your lived experience is what's real, right? No, that's not true.
I watched my kid maybe 3 weeks ago in the kitchen. We have one of those Google Alexa things or whatever in the kitchen, and for music and all kinds of stuff. My wife likes to cook with music, and my kid asked who I was and into the thing, and then it just spit out this 2-minute thing of all accomplishments and things that I do and all that other stuff. And I was like, man, you don't even need me to tell you the fucking story anymore. Like, you just got it in 2 minutes from Alexa, which is weird as shit to me.
It is, yeah.
It's super fucking bizarre.
There's some more semi-breaking news here.
What do we got?
Bob, can you go to, you're on Twitter, Liberty Lock Pod. It's Clint, my buddy Clint Russell, just posted this video of a meeting with Justin Trudeau where it looks like he says he's going to step down as prime minister on Sunday.
Really?
I'm only seeing it. I haven't listened to it yet, so I don't know what it says.
Play this. It'd be great.
What a pleasure to see leaders of industry and different sectors across the Quebec economy gathered here today. It's a moment for us to talk about what more we can do. The strength of unity from all different sectors right across the country is our greatest strength right now as a country. I will also say it's a touching moment for me. This will be my last public event as Prime Minister. So or one of my it's my last one till Sunday night anyway. So it is a big moment for me to be home here in Montreal, able to do this. What a pleasure.
Whoa.
So last one until Sunday night, which presumably means he's going to resign publicly Sunday night. I don't know what's going on there, but we'll know by Monday, bitch.
Yeah, that's
tune in for
wild.
Fake News Monday. That's just a little teaser.
Okay. That just went down right now?
Yeah, that's today. Yeah.
Unfortunately, how he's handled the whole trade war with Trump right now in Canadian polls has like the Liberal Party kind of just going upward. So you're just going to get another Trudeau, unfortunately.
Yeah, Pierre fucked that up big time, man.
Really?
Yeah, we talked about it on.
No, I
Fake
know,
News
but you
yesterday.
actually think it's going to go down?
Yeah, unless something shifts dramatically between now and whenever they actually hold an election, there's no way the fucking.
Well, is this why he
Conservatives are gonna
is speeding this up then, perhaps?
win. Yeah, it's like this is what parliamentary systems do. You know what I mean? The the party in control at the moment waits for the best opportune time for them to change power, so they make sure their guy gets in. That's always how it happens.
Interesting.
Because they're the ones that call the election.
So maybe because of the tariffs and everything that's going on, he sped up his resignation so that they can speed up an election process.
100%. That's exactly what happened.
Got it. Interesting. Yeah, that's why we're going live on Fridays here, I guess. Now's the point in the show. We get to the Drinkin Bro of the week. Bob, you can submit on drinkinbros.com. My wife asked me to order her a Gulf of America tank top this morning, so I did that. And she's got that. Those shirts are on fire right now. The Bro Box is on fire right now. And yeah, dude, we got those tanks up there, man. We are selling the fuck out of those Gulf of America t-shirts. And then the same with the Doge Around and Find Out right now. Stores all stocked up across the board. NIL-wise, all of our colleges that Hardy F. Seltzer is represented are up in the store as well, including Penn State's, which we'll see you guys next month. We are. Hashtag. And yeah, I think they get a good shot at the national championship this year. We'll have to put some of those shakers up there on the thing.
Yeah, by the way,
everybody takes them here.
Emily in the chat just mentioned it, but HEB in Texas has restocked.
Yes.
We've been getting texts tagged and shit
Yeah.
since what? Thursday. Yesterday.
Thursday, yeah.
Yesterday is when it dropped. So your local HEB should be stocked up
Every
now.
single one of them stocked up, and it's funny, man. Like, I got crushed by the manager yesterday in Driven Spring, who was just like, "Bro, what's with this fucking product?" And I was like, "It's just, have you had it?
Yeah.
It's just a liquid Jolly Rancher, man." And he goes, I'll fucking try it or whatever, right?" But yeah, it's been awesome and crazy and the same thing, and we don't obviously want to run out, but we keep doubling orders, and we have for the better part of a year. And yeah, one last gigantic investor will knock this out, and there'll never be a problem again. And then we'll go in all 50 states. But it's certainly not for a lack of anything else, because look, Albertsons just picked it up in Montana. Idaho, Albertsons just picked it up as well. And all of those. I know we're talking to Costco for Memorial Day weekend here in Texas, which will be fun.
Yeah, we still got to work out
and then
those
the orange,
details.
by the way, the orange is selling out so quickly in Illinois that other states have also asked for it. So we might have those 16-ounce orange come out sometime, maybe in spring or summer.
Yeah.
I know HEB just asked for it as well.
Yep.
And so I'm trying to deal with the licensing on that, because it was only for Illinois, so I only registered it there. And I was unaware that people were going to be driving it over state lines and sharing it and all that other stuff.
Same thing happened with
fun.
New Glarus in Wisconsin. They make this beer called Spotted Cow that's super popular. So everybody, Minnesota used to have the 3.2 laws on Sunday. You can only buy 3.2% beer. Or whatever.
Oh, really?
So people would drive across the border into Wisconsin, and New Glarus will only sell in Wisconsin. I don't know if they're still doing that or not, but this was the case back then. And people drove over the border. There was a lot of pressure on them to expand their distribution, but I don't know that they ever did.
Yingling did that for years too.
Yeah, they only sold.
Well,
they only sold Delco on the. It wasn't just Pennsylvania, but it was the tri-state and then parts of the East Coast. But they never moved out of the East Coast until like the late 2010s, I think.
Yeah, and for us, like we're doing this specifically, so we try not to run out right now. So like opening up in all 50 states does us no good, just because you've got to service 300 million people or whatever.
Service my hog.
Yeah. You wash my hog.
Two-handed hogwash is what we call it.
Exactly. But right now,
I think that
I'm going to
be
service you. I'm going to service you guys.
Okay.
On drinkinbros.com, you got the Drinkin Bro submission for Drinkin Bro of the Week, and it gets emailed to us live on air. We'll read a couple of them here today, since it's Friday, and we're having some drinks and some laughs. This one was just submitted by, man, put a fucking pronunciation with this, you cocksucker. Alex Skolziak. I know I'm not saying that right, and that's your fucking fault, okay? Alex, Minnesota, listener since 2021, nominating Tom Grossi, who is living, who's also been a Drinkin Bro since 2021. Since I heard Dan talk about government-sponsored human trafficking with Mike the Cop, I am nominating Tom Grossi as Drinkin Bro of the Week. Tom is a YouTube content creator who recently had a week-long stream where he raised well over $1 million for the Children of Patriots Scholarship. Look that up. I don't know what that is.
What's it called? Children of Patriots?
Children of Patriots Scholarship. The organization gives scholarships to children of those who lost parents in the line of duty, medical reasons, suicide, etc. And Tom has raised well over $2 million total for various other charities. Cheers to Tom, and cheers to you fuckers. Absolutely love the show, and thanks for the laughs. Cheers to you, man. Yeah, we'll look into that charity there.
I mean, it's real. They go through Fisher House.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Okay, cool.
And they're partnered with, let's see, they're partnered with a number of different federal grants, but also Folded Flag, who we've worked with, Special Operation Warrior Foundation, who I've worked with, Freedom Alliance, Heroes Legacy, and Fisher House.
Okay,
So,
cool. Fuck yeah,
good
dude.
stuff.
Cheers to you, Alex. Just give me a pronunciation on a name like Skolziak, for Christ's sake, or Skolzak. Fucking who knows, dude. It is Skluzacek. Fucking A.
If you want us to pronounce your name right, get a better name.
Yeah, just change it to that, but just go by Skulls, with a Z at the end of it.
Yeah.
Make it easy for all of us. Another one just came in here. Who is this? Drinkin Bro submission, Julie Taylor from Washington, listener for 3 years. Wants to nominate Todd Taylor, who is living. Thank you. My husband is an Army veteran and a retired... You're going to give me this name too? A retired Multnomah County Corrections Officer. Look that up. Multnomah. How do you pronounce that?
Shouldn't there be an H? Is it in Oregon? Are they in Oregon?
One would think. I don't know.
Multnomah's in Oregon.
Okay. Well, hopefully that's it in Oregon. Corrections officer. He's been a Drinkin Bro listener since 2019. Loves you guys and is a loyal listener. We were lucky enough to meet you guys in Eugene. Oh yeah, so it is in Oregon. Shit. And had an amazing time. I think I remember they were at the that bar we went to. I really liked that
with
bar.
Jonathan.
Yes,
Jonathan. I think he's
Stewart.
a tall guy. Yeah, I remember that guy.
God damn, dude.
They were all sitting at that circular.
You guys
table in
rocked.
the
I
middle.
think I ate nachos with you guys. For
I think they were.
a good
Yeah,
half
you did
hour
because they were
afterwards.
sitting at that circular table in the middle.
And wings. The fucking wings of that place were great too.
That place was good. Yeah,
I love that sports
I don't remember
bar.
the name of that place.
I don't either. We do drugs. I can't remember anything, but I remember being there. It was a fucking awesome time though. We were drinking there for like fucking 6 or 7 hours.
We were there for
too.
a bit, yeah.
God damn. I want to nominate him as Drinkin Bro of the Week from all the shit he put up with in the Portland jail system for 25 years. Portland is a liberal disaster, and what he went through is unbelievable. He's a great husband and a great father, and I want to thank him for his sacrifices, and thanks to you guys for always being there for him so he never has to drink alone. Absolutely. Cheers to you guys.
And then the name of the bar was Prime Time Sports.
Thank you. Primetime Sports.
There's also
man.
2 of them in the area.
Yeah.
One of them's on campus. One of them right off campus. I think we were at the
Off-campus one, yeah.
Off-campus
yes.
one, yeah.
And they were great. The whole staff there, the manager at Primetime Sports was awesome. Food was lights out. They also and it's like a weird Oregon law. They let us sell cases of hard AF seltzer at the fucking bar. So they just charged it, and everybody was able to just to buy it and walk out with a 12-pack out of a sports bar, which was fucking rad, dude. So yeah, cheers to you guys. That was a fun event, man. And we're hoping to do something extremely similar to that at Penn State. I don't know about you. I'd like to go like Friday afternoon like that and then just stay for the day and rage. I think that'd be fun.
I don't see why not. We got nothing else to do.
No, dude. So I'd love to do it. And then I'd like to talk to Penn State, see if I can get the kid down on the field kicking field goals out there on the stadium, just so he can understand what it's like in a stadium of 110,000 people. I think that'd be fucking hilarious. Now, obviously, they're not going to let him do it during the game, but pregame,
why not?
Looking into that stadium, man, that's intimidating.
It's a spring game. Let him go out there and get crushed.
That's what I agree, dude. Or do it in one of the Arena League football games. Yeah. So if you're down, there's one next Saturday night that they're going to let us call, but we can chat about it later. And go live with it on YouTube. It'd be so fucking funny, man. Because Arena League football is kicking off here pretty soon. A lot of stuff is kicking off pretty soon. I like doing these live on Friday. This fucking rocks, dude. So we'll continue to do it. Appreciate you tuning in, kids. Go to iTunes, rate the show a 5-star, and leave a quick review. Also, head on over to Spotify. It's just a 5-star, and you can walk away. We'll have some big news regarding Spotify next week as well. For D'Anthony and Anthony Hollaway, I'm Ross Patterson. This is the Drinkin Bros podcast. Good night, everyone.